Welcome to Unleashed Opinion, boldly challenging the powers that be while keeping liberals in their place with conservative ideals and common sense solutions.
Hello, folks. Welcome to the Unleashed Opinion. We're back once again. Tim is in the house with us tonight, and glad to have him back.
Hey, thanks for a lot for having me. A little rusty, but it's falling right back into place.
I knew it would be good. Big thank you out to our men and women in the armed services, because we really, really do appreciate what they do. Last weekend, or earlier this week, was the 4th of July. I hope everybody had a good time, was safe and everything. And remember what the 4th of July celebration is about. I mean, you watch some of these clips out there and people don't have a clue. It's about our independence. So if you find somebody that doesn't have a clue, enlighten them.
You know what? I heard a great story at work the other day. There's one of the ladies that works in the office has two young children, 3 and 5, I think. And during the 4th of July, one of them was sick, unfortunately, but they decided to do something patriotic, and they watched the movie The Patriot with Mel Gibson.
Yeah,
right?
Yep.
And the older one, who's a little bit more aggressive, now he's decided he's going to join the Army.
Really?
Yeah, he's like, that's
That
it.
sold him,
And I'm
huh?
like, you know what? It's still there. The pride is still there. It doesn't matter where you're at. It's still there.
That's exactly right. Hey, big thank you out to John for putting everything together for us and doing what he does, putting up with us on a weekly basis. Our listeners out there, hey, we do it for you guys, because if nobody's listening, we just sit here and talk to ourselves. So we kind of do that anyway. Sometimes.
I was going to say that's kind of what we're doing. But
You guys out there in the garage on 125, you guys are awesome. First responders, hey, we need you. Don't let them tell you we don't, because we do. The people out there at the Rock, WICC, Tim's going to be a former employee of here shortly.
It's coming closer. I know we didn't have this scheduled, Smitty, but the other day I just saw it on Fox News in New York City where a female officer was shot,
Right.
ambushed. It was a straight-up ambush. They were doing crowd security for the 4th of July parades and whatever festivities they had going on, and some idiot just came up and shot her in the back of the head and killed her.
Yeah, she had 3 kids, too. She's 48 years old. That's pretty sad that some dumbass would treat these people this way. And you know what? This goes back to what we've talked about time and time again. It's lack of leadership from the top over the last 8 years that allowed this type of crap to go unpunished.
How in the world did we go from, in our lifetime, and it's getting a little bit longer in the tooth than it should have been, but how did we go? I remember seeing a police officer when I was a kid, and my parents put them in reverence. They were, they still don't make near enough money. They go out there and put their life on the line for you every single day, and they get treated like they're nothing. Where's the mainstream media talking about this? Do you know the other day that NBC, I believe, I'm sorry, I don't want to say that for sure, there was a news outlet that had zero coverage of this officer being shot?
Are you kidding me? Because
No.
this is a tragedy.
They had 7 minutes worth of Trump's tweets, but they had absolutely zero time about an officer, a 48-year-old veteran, that went out there and lost her life because some moron had so little respect for authority that he thought it was all right to put around in her head. The only good news in this whole story is they shot his dumb ass.
Cops killed him.
Yeah, and that's a win for the
Ironic,
good
isn't it?
guys.
You betcha. You betcha. And it's unbelievable. And like you was talking about, when we grew up, you respected the police. You didn't didn't backtalk these people. And you damn sure, if you were protesting, you didn't throw Molotov cocktails at them or bricks
Nope.
or anything else. You did not do that.
You gave your opinion. You disagreed with the authority. Even in the 60s when they protested their butt off over the Vietnam War, which I don't care much for, they at least did it peacefully.
Most of the time, yes, that's true. But, and it's sad. And it's that this gal, her life was taken by this moron. Ironic, cops terminated him. It's too
Good.
bad. Yeah.
Good. Now there's one less that will have such disrespect for authority.
Right. We were talking earlier over this past weekend, Deacon and I went to Springfield, Illinois, to the airport out there, and they had a 1945 B-17 bomber out there. It was also called the Flying Fortress. And I read the article on this thing being called the Flying Fortress and did not realize It's not very big. It's really not very big. There's 10 people aboard this thing, and this thing had 13 50 caliber machine guns on it, and they could not carry very much ammunition because, I mean, you got to trade one for the other. You're either going to go with fuel or you're going to go with ammunition, but you don't get both. Okay.
Well, I think you got to see a little bit of a taste of the heroism of the greatest generation.
Oh,
right there in
absolutely.
real life.
Absolutely. And we've got 3 different videos on our Facebook page about this because we've pretty much Facebook Lived all this thing, and it is pretty awesome. In fact, I got a couple clips here I want to show you, and Deacon's just gonna really like this because, as you know, Deacon's a big guy. It's a pretty small plane when you put him on. Let's take a couple looks at this thing. Let's see if I can get some of this. Here he comes. Look at him. Talk about Groundhog Day. Watch out for that fan. I got it once. Chucklehead finally made it in. Let's turn back around here. I'm going to head towards the tail here. Sliding in the bomb bay here. Got bombs on both sides of me. And there's just a narrow 6-inch catwalk here we're on. More bombs. Here's the catwalk I'm talking about. We're walking on. It's not very wide, and it's
not made for a fat body. I'll guarantee you that.
and I'm just about, and I'm not very tall.
Ow, why? Take a video of this.
Okay, hang on. There's Chucklehead. There he comes.
Hard for a fat boy to get through here.
Look at that. Not much room. This is amazing. Okay, that was a little clip of the B-17 bomber. As you can see, it's not very big, especially if you're as big as Deacon. So,
well, and you got to put it into perspective of what those people did. It was amazing. My ex-wife's grandfather was he was on a crew of a bomber. He got shot down twice in the English Channel.
Holy cow!
Broke his leg the first time. Then he was taken captive by the Germans afterwards.
Really?
Spent several years. Him and his twin brother. His brother was taken captive by the Japanese in World War II, and they were twin brothers, and they were both. And you got to remember, back in the day, they didn't know they were alive because there was not social media. There was, written down, and those heroes that did that stuff, they did it for real. That wasn't just a tour. That wasn't just a, hey, look, we restored an old plane. They went up and they fought people in that. And the history of the bombers, and I'm not sure if it was the 17 or the whatever bomber it was, but even the Hells Angels, that, a lot of people think that the Hells Angels biker group calls it, and it's some type of satanic thing, and actually it was named after a bomber.
Oh, really? I
Because
did not know that.
when they were in hell, the angels came, and it was the bomber. Yeah, so, I mean, there's unbelievable history on those things.
But anyway, after you watch this, go to our Facebook page. There's 3 sections of this video of this bomber. It's pretty awesome. It's probably 30 minutes long or something like that, but it's pretty good. Sure. I was really glad that I went and seen it. There's a reason why these people were called the greatest generation, because they earned it.
Yeah, because they were. And you know what? And I'd like to give a shout out to the generation that's doing it now. And you talk to some of these combat vets now that had 4, 5, 6 tours, 7 tours in Afghanistan or Iraq. The greatest generation, not taking anything away from our World War II vets that are my absolute heroes, it never ended. They're still going, folks.
Sure. Good point. Very good point. Okay, I got another positive message here. There's a guy in Springfield who walked 2 hours to work in Springfield. It took him that long to get across town. And a postal worker who's seen him walking all the time gave him a bicycle to ride back and forth. We got a little video clip of that, and let's take a look at that.
Father walks 4 hours to and from work every day. He says he'll do anything for his children, and now he's seeing a break from that trek with a random act of kindness.
Hang on to it. Now, what do you think?
I think it's amazing.
This is Johnny Phillips, gifted something he'll never forget. Every day, the father of 3 walks 2 hours to and from work. He starts his trip on the opposite side of town and ends up at his overnight job at Circle K on Monroe Street.
That walk is real brutal.
Tuesday morning, a regular customer decides to surprise him.
It beats walking 100% of the time. Oh my God, dude, thank you so much.
You know, every time I got rained on, every time I got trapped in the snow, every time I was sweating beads down my face, you know, and for somebody to just go out of their way and do something to help me, I just sat there and cried. There was nothing else I could really say.
Several times in his life, Johnny was homeless. He says he's picking himself up slowly.
He's like 1 in a million for somebody to do something like that for me, because I don't really have a lot of good fortune like that in my life all the time.
Johnny didn't even know the man's name.
So when he did that for me, it just made me have a little bit more faith in people.
Well, the man behind the bike is a Springfield U.S. Post Office driver, Jim Copeland. He tells us he didn't want to be on camera because the story isn't about him. It's about Johnny and the message.
That's good. So you know what? There's a lot of good people out there. You turn on the mainstream media and all you hear is bad crap. But I like showing this stuff here because there's good people out there. And what I really liked about this guy who got the bicycle is they said he was homeless from time to time. He stood up and he didn't cry about it. He was walking to and from work. He had a job. Okay, he didn't do anything easy. And you know, it goes right back to what we talked about, Ben Carson talking about poverty. Your state of mind has a lot to do with it. Well, this guy here didn't give up. And Ben Carson's absolutely right that if you got the proper state of mind, you can push through a lot of adversity.
Well, and one of the things I love to see is and the one thing that keeps me going is there really are more good people than bad.
Sure.
The bad people make the news. The good people rarely get looked at and they rarely get talked about. But the heart of the people out there is almost always good. In fact, sometimes too good. We take a little bit more than we should. We allow people to use us as pushovers. Some of our elected officials, and we are slow to anger, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. But you must remember, we've been slow to anger before, but once we reach that point, it will be reckoned with.
Absolutely. And, getting back to the video here, we talked about your state of mind. And a couple of weeks ago, we showed a video of a gal who lived in her car with her mom and her sister for a while, time and time again, and graduated from high school with a 5.25 grade point average and was accepted to Stanford. So back to what Ben Carson said, they beat him down for saying that your state of mind can make a difference, whether it's poverty or getting into a school or keeping your job. Your state of mind makes a huge
Absolutely.
difference.
You see it both ways. There's plenty of stories that came out of Cabrini Green, good stories with scholars and athletes and people that did great things. And there's a lot of people that were born with a silver spoon in their mouth that turned out to be turds. So,
sure.
I mean, it is 100% state of mind. It's 100% of the raising. It's 100% of the pride they have in themselves, period. And that man showed a lot of pride, and the person who took care of him had even more.
Absolutely.
Period. I mean, we can say that now.
There's not enough videos like that out there.
No, there's not. There's really not. And that stuff happens every day. I'm surprised that the mainstream media even took the time to do something like that. I really am.
Yeah. Yep. But I'm glad they did. Yeah, that's something to talk about, too. Anyway, moving right along, you remember Susan Rice?
How could you forget it?
Yeah, Susan Rice, she was the one who met with Bill Clinton on the tarmac, and I believe it was Arizona when Hillary was under investigation for the servers in her closet and such crap as that. She is also one of the people that went on 3 morning Sunday shows talking about Benghazi, that it was some flipping YouTube video that caused the Benghazi incident to happen. She's a straight-up liar. She's a criminal. And now we've got a little clip of her she's implied that she is a victim because of her race and her sex. Let's take a look at what the Fox News, go figure, has got to say.
Hinting that recent criticism of her time in the Obama White House owes something to possibly racism and sexism. In a recent interview, Rice said she feels personally targeted by the Trump administration and that her being a woman of color could be part of it. Here's HeatStreet.com's take on it. Quote, thanks to a glowing profile in New York Magazine, we know that despite Susan Rice's very public shortcomings, whatever happened to that dastardly filmmaker who spurred violence across the Middle East anyway, she believes any criticism of her tenure is at least partly the result of racism and sexism.
No, I don't think race or sex has anything to do with it, Miss Rice, because frankly, us out here in the public, we don't care. Okay, what we do care about is you went on TV and lied to the American people. You talked to Bill Clinton on the tarmac. You obstructed justice, and you did these unthinkable things that anybody else, especially on the right side of the aisle, would already be in jail for, or at least indicted for.
I don't know if you're a conspiracy theorist at all, but if there's a bigger patsy out there than, whoever shot JFK, this is the one. I don't know how stupid you can be when you get sent out by the left wing to take the brunt of their stupidity every single week. I don't think she was the one that met with Bill Clinton?
Yes.
She was the Attorney General?
Yes.
Okay, well, she is a complete moron because she continues to go out there and sell the crap that they tell her, because it's become very apparent that she is not intelligent enough to have her own opinion. She just goes out there and she's a spin doctor for whatever they tell her to do. And she does it, and she always comes out looking stupid. I mean, everything she's done, she's been proven wrong. I mean, everything. Sure. There's nothing left. I couldn't believe anything she said. I'm not even sure if she's claiming that it's racism and sexism. I'm not even sure she's black or a woman. Because if it comes out of her mouth, I'm not going to buy it.
Well, in today's day and age,
exactly.
It's still a question.
Seriously, I have no idea. We have, what's her name, claiming to be an American Indian. She wasn't. We had the leader of the NAACP saying she was black, and she wasn't.
Right.
So how do I know she's even a woman or black?
And we got guys running around there saying they're women and vice versa. And we got so many different things you can put on your driver's license now. I don't even... It's come to the point, this sexism thing, that if you're just bisexual or homosexual, you're normal according to some of these other people. But
I just saw on Fox News the other day. I wish we had a clip. I wish I would have thought of it soon enough. This thing, because it refuses to say if it's a boy or a girl. Said that you should not be prejudiced against transgenders, and if you're heterosexual, at least in some point in your dating career, you should try to date a transgender.
Really?
Excuse me? I'm going to solve the transgender debate right now. Go into the bathroom and pull down your pants and look down. The problem is now solved. That's the way you were born. Whether you look, I look at myself as already retired and a millionaire. I just can't wish that into happening. I was born a boy, and I'm a boy. That's the bottom line. If you can relate to whatever you want, but the fact of the matter is you are what you were born. If you want to change that, by all means, feel free. I think if there was an operating table when you made that bold statement, you probably wouldn't get on it.
Very well could be.
Just saying.
Anyway, back to Susan Rice Nurse.
How did we get that far off? Was that me again?
I helped a little bit.
Hey, you asked me.
So how's this turn out to be my fault again?
I don't know.
Anyway, you got Susan Rice spewing her stupidity out there. Now she's claiming it's racism and sexism, and it's a Trump administration. No, you should have been indicted a long time ago. And they was talking about also the Russian collusion, and they keep digging and digging and digging, and they've been working on this for eons now, and they've really found nothing to pin on Trump. They've kind of found a couple things on some people around him a little bit, and nothing major. But I've also remember what was it, Daniel O'Keefe, I think, this he's the one that exposed a bunch of people before. Well, got a little clip of him talking to Van Jones, and Van Jones is one of the people who's saying talks about all this collusion between the Trump transition team and the Russians. And let's take a little clip, or let's see what Van Jones got to say here.
Hey, man. We met in Palm Springs a few years back.
Good to see you, man. You good?
Yeah. How you been? What are you doing?
Good.
What do you think's going to happen this week? I mean, with the whole Russia thing.
The Russia thing is just a big nothing burger.
Really? You don't think that...
There's nothing there you can do. The The Russia thing is just a big nothing burger.
Really? You don't think that?
There's nothing there you can do to get a break.
Yesterday, you met
Okay, that's
supervising
good.
producer John.
But that's Project Veritas, if I remember, and you can take that for what it's worth. But you know, they've been dragging this out for God, I don't know how long now, but they've never turned up with anything. And you got these people saying, well, we got to keep looking because we know there's something there. You shouldn't have to look too hard. You shouldn't have to look any further than Hillary with the uranium deal with Russia, the restart button, which she screwed that up. So, you know.
Well, you know what? Look, we're superpower.
Right.
We have something very much invested in what happens in the other superpowers. So why would we think for a second that they don't have something vested in us?
Oh, absolutely.
You know, I mean, they're going to try, but how they can change that? Russia didn't vote for Trump. I did.
And that is what they found, that no Russians voted in our election. They have found that. So how you're still blaming this on Russia, I don't know. Now, we've got another person who was talking about Russia being involved in our election with the WikiLeaks stuff and stuff like that. And this guy's name is Adam Schiff, and he said that Obama knew about this stuff in August of 2016 and did absolutely nothing. Which, you know, after 7.5 years of Obama, we expected that.
Of course.
But we got a little clip of him talking about this also. This guy's name is Adam Schiff, and he's talking about Obama did nothing.
Here, appreciate it. Congressman, I'll just start with the fact that the Democrats, you are investigating, but a lot of Democrats have been using Russia as a political tool to go after President Trump and the Republicans as well. This week, as you just heard, the Washington Post reported that President Obama knew as far back as August of 2016 that Vladimir Putin was working to elect President Trump. Did Obama fail in his duty to this nation?
I think the Obama administration should have done a lot more when it became clear that not only was Russia intervening, but it was being directed at the highest levels of the Kremlin. And indeed, Senator Feinstein and I were repeatedly trying to make that case to the administration initially when they didn't want to make attribution, they didn't want to publicly talk about Russia's role. And later, after we issued our own statement, and they did attribute the conduct to Russia, I was urging that they begin then the process of sanctioning Russia, the administration talking more forcefully about what the Russians had done. I think that was a mistake, but I have to contest what President Trump is also saying, because for Donald Trump, who openly egged on the Russians to hack Hillary Clinton's emails and celebrated every release of these stolen.
So at some point in time, he's talking about him and Senator Feinstein was talking about you need to do something different. We need to sanction Russia. You know, since August, I don't recall hearing anything about that till after the election, after Trump had won. I don't recall you guys standing at the rooftop screaming, hey, there's stuff going on here, Obama. We need to do something. We need to sanction Russia prior to the election. No, you wait till after Hillary gets beat because you're so sure she's going to win. Didn't happen.
When's the excuses going to stop? I mean, what are they going to do now? Did you already hit the insane? We're going to impeach him. We're going to do that. Dude, he won.
Right.
He won, period.
Right.
He probably won better than anybody else, you know? And now you're making yourself look so stupid, you're going to guarantee him another one.
Sure. And you know what? Look, Trump is he's going in the right. He's going in the direction that I like. Some of the things he does, not so much. He could put the Twitter down for a bit.
Well, you know what? I agreed with you in the first place about that. But how is he going to get what he says out there anymore? I mean, this is the social media world. This is the world we live in now. Is he going to count on CNN to do it?
No, I'm not saying put the tweet down completely. Just pick your battles, because he's picking stupid battles. What, 90% of the time?
Yeah.
I mean, it's because he's out there attacking everybody who looks cross-eyed at him, and you can't do that. You have to choose your battles.
You have to do that, but you know what? Everybody else has been ruled by the media. Bill Clinton made this an art. He really did.
You ain't kidding.
He took what the media said and he rode the wave of media. And this guy is saying some stuff that is unorthodox. He's saying stuff that we would say. I was not a huge Trump supporter to begin with.
Right.
The only thing I really liked about him is that he said such crazy crap that people had to decide. And now we're getting to the point where he's got to fight battles like this.
Well, because the mainstream media is not going to put the real stuff out there.
And he's saying a lot of the stuff that we said tonight. we're telling him to pick our battles. We'll fight with anybody. So why shouldn't he? I mean, he's the greatest person. I don't know is it beneath the president to address slander? Because that's what it is. They've lied.
Sure. Yeah, you're right. They did. But what I'm looking at is he's got bigger fish to fry than equivalent with the mainstream.
Well,
media.
and I think we're going to see that in the near future. He's going to deal with North Korea in a situation that could actually lead to another war. He's going to deal with some big time situations. I think he's done some good stuff right now, but he hasn't had the big one. He's going to have the big one. We'll judge him on that. And you know what? Just like I judged President Obama, he was my president, but I didn't like what he did. We're going to judge President Trump on the same way. So if he wants to fight a battle, right now, fight the battle. When it's time to get down to business, I think he's still doing that.
Oh, I agree with you. I think he's got the intestinal fortitude to take it to them. He's going to pretty much put it on the line. Look, fellas, I'm tired of jacking with you. You due to the funky haircut, quit launching your stupid missiles because we're tired of dealing with you.
Well, we got an individual who's not bought and paid for by any particular power broker. Nobody owns this guy. He's got his own money. He doesn't need theirs. He's got his own life. He didn't need to do this.
No,
he didn't have to do this. So he's not stereotypical, and that's why he's there. Because we were tired of stereotypes. We're tired of people. We're tired of the same old thing over and over again. That's the definition of insanity right there.
You're right. You're right.
Doing the same thing over and over again, hoping for a different result. Well, we got a different result now.
We sure do. And and here's another thing, like you're talking about here, you got away from the mainstream politician. The voters decided they were tired of that crap, so they took the matter in their own hands and voted somebody who was not on the political mainstream.
I'm going to tell you right now, and I've argued with my liberal, I'll call them friends, because when we're not arguing, that's what it is. If Hillary would not have stole, I'm going to make this statement right now. If she would not have stole the primary from Bernie Sanders would be the president. That's how tired of this crap people were. That's seriously. It didn't matter. You could have run a shined up turd against Hillary and you would have won because, quite simply, we were tired of it. I mean, Bernie Sanders was crazier than a shaved rat in a coffee can. But the guy, it was, look, I'm ready to try something different because what we've done, and we can blame Obama and we can go Clinton and we can go back further. They were tired of the status quo. And now we don't have it, and that's a good thing.
It's a very good thing. And the liberals are screaming so bad that the Democrats are wanting to impeach President Trump because they say he's incompetent.
Is this the same people that, Nancy Pelosi, who doesn't know who the president is? That lady, you can take one look at her, and I would like a mental health professional to back me up on this. She's insane. She has no clue where she's at all.
She says some bizarre stuff.
And nobody says a word about that. How come he can be a target and they can't? That's my question. How come?
Well, Nancy Pelosi's a target on this show, I'll tell you that.
Well, and she should be.
Yeah, absolutely. When you go out there and say, we have to pass the bill so we can see what's in it, and then you criticize the Republicans for trying to draft a bill on a committee, and you say it's behind closed doors, nobody knows. Look, you did the same stupid stuff.
You called for the head of the CIA until he fired him, and then you said he was a savior of some sort.
Yeah. But anyway, back to what I was talking about. They're screaming for Trump to be impeached because he's not competent. We got a little video clip of one of these clowns talking about this stuff. Let's take a look at that.
Ago. You would think they would be huddling together trying to figure out what their platform is to move forward. But here is what their focus is. You've got a dozen of these House member Democrats getting behind a bill to remove the president from office. They say he is being mentally incapacitated, giving that more support than, for example, Kate's Law or the Sanctuary Cities bill that passed the House this week. So here's a look at the Democrats that are hoping to get this bill passed. This is their focus, Corey.
This is amazing. This is everything that Washington has been broken for. This is Washington for 30 years has been broken. All of a sudden, they want to try and remove a president for no reason. You know why? Because they hate the agenda, which is putting America first, which is tax cuts, repeal and replace Obamacare, stopping illegal aliens from coming into the country, and killing American citizens. Who could be against Kate's law? This is the amazing part. This poor woman on a pier in California is killed by an illegal alien who was deported on 6 different occasions, and now it's a partisan issue. When did protecting citizens of the United States from murder become a partisan issue? Tell the Democrats, get on board, protect American people. Let's get the bill to the Senate. Let's get Democrat senators and bipartisan support to pass that bill so we can protect American
But you
citizens.
seen the whole slew of Democrats want to pass this bill to impeach the president because he's mentally incompetent.
Well, keep up the stupid work because, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes, and that's what they're going to get.
Sure. They're going to ensure that he wins another term.
Absolutely.
That's what they're going to do.
And that's the only good thing about that is that's good for America because I'm glad that we are finally getting back to being proud and being elitist. Okay, yeah. Why shouldn't you be?
Absolutely. I mean, that's why all these illegals want to come here, because we are the greatest country in the
We
world.
can take it right back to where we started this. The greatest generation ensured our freedom. They ensured our elitist ship, whatever the word is. And it's our responsibility, every one of us out there, to do the same for our kids, our grandkids, and our great-grandkids.
You betcha. And you know what? We're out of time again.
Wow. It's just that fast.
Yes, it is. Hey, remember, if you love your country, you love your freedom, thank a veteran. Thanks for tuning in. May God bless.
God bless you.